All right, I got the 3-liter Duramax in the shop today. It's got 521 miles on it, and I'm going to go ahead and do my first oil change on it, and I will show y'all how to do it and what part numbers you're going to need and how much you're going to need. So y'all stick around, and we're going to do the first oil change on this bad boy so y'all can do this at home in your driveway. All right, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 7 quarts of this oil here. Here's your part number right there. You can probably buy a kit on Amazon. Here's the filter you're going to need with the part number. And also, if y'all are going to be doing y'all's fuel filter, this is the part number for that also. You can find these parts on Amazon or go to your dealer and buy them. But yeah, so just 7 quarts of 020 Dexos D rated for your light duty diesel motor oil and your filter. And yeah, let's get started. All right, so the first thing I like to do is to take the fuel cap, not the fuel cap, the fill cap for your oil off. And I like to put the funnel in there before I ever drain the oil, okay? Because that reminds me when I lower the, because I got a shop here. And so when I lower the vehicle down after draining it, I'll know, hey, this doesn't have oil in it because the funnel is still in it. And so that's just a good way for me to remember to make sure it's full. All right, so I got the vehicle lifted up here, and the front of the vehicle is this way. Rear's back there. And so, you know, it's pretty simple. Just got your oil filter here and your drain plug right there, and it should be simple enough. All right, so the tools you're gonna need are 15 millimeter socket or a wrench or anything, and also an oil filter wrench. Or, you know, sometimes they make a bunch of different ones of these, but this is just the one I use, and it doesn't really matter, wrench, socket, whatever will fit on that bolt right there. But 15 millimeter, and we'll get this loosened up, and I'll show you how to do that here. I typically start with the oil filter, loosen it until it starts draining, and I'll let it sit there for a second, and then I'll let the drain plug, I'll take it out and let it drain completely, and once it stops dripping, then I'll fully take the oil filter off. All right, as you can see, I got it loose just enough for it to trickle out like that, and obviously catching it in an oil pan here. But yep, we're just gonna let it sit here and wait for it to slow down. Oh, there you go, it starts slowing down right there. And now it would be a good time to take your drain plug loose. All right, I now got the oil draining here into the pan. And just a reminder, I'll probably say it again, but that drain plug only needs to be hand tightened. Nothing more, nothing less. And I'm gonna try to find the torque spec for y'all in case y'all are wondering, but man, it's just finger tight plus just a hair extra. I'm gonna let this drain, and I'll find that torque spec and I'll let y'all know what it is. All right, so the book says 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds, and that is for the oil drain plug. So no more than 18 foot-pounds. All right, I got the torque wrench ready, 18 foot-pounds, and so when the oil finishes draining, we'll make sure we get it torqued to spec. All right, so now our oil filter has quit dripping. Oil pan is still dripping a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the oil filter all the way off. All right, so you can see a lot more is coming out. We're also gonna let that drain completely before putting the new filter on. And while we're waiting for that to finish draining, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure this has fresh oil all the way around the gasket there. Now let me know in the comments, are y'all pre-fill or no fill? I'll show y'all what the book says. All right, so according to GM on the 3-liter diesel, you do not need to pre-fill your oil. It says lubricate the gasket, which we already did, and it says install new and tighten. So according to GM, you can do what you want to do, but according to GM, they say you do not have to pre-fill your oil filter. All right, so I'm going to call this good, or we're going to be sitting here all day waiting for this to drain. But if a little bit of a drip like that, I think it's just fine. So we're going to go ahead and slap the oil drain plug back in, and we'll keep going from there. All right, got the torque wrench set to 18 foot-pounds. Sorry, this is probably not a good angle. It's very difficult to film. There we go. Boom, right there. Torque to spec. And I'll show y'all also how to tighten the oil filter. All right, so here is the spec to tighten the oil filter. So it says 3/4 to 1 full turn after the gasket makes contact with the sealing surface. So all you gotta do is barely screw it on there. As soon as you feel it touch, 3/4 to 1 turn. No more, no less. All right, here we go. It's gonna be leaking down a little bit. There's a little residual still dripping, but easy. Okay, so I feel it touch about right there. So easy enough. It's about a half, 3/4. So basically, just get it as tight as you can get it by hand, and that is all you need to do. All right, I'm gonna give everything quick spray down, especially that drain plug there, that oil filter, because it was dripping on us when we're tightening it. And all right, we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll go up top and start filling this truck. All right, so up top, we already have this all ready to go, so just pour on in all 7 quarts. There's a little shaky. That's good enough. I ain't gotta wait 10 minutes for this thing to sit there and drain every bit out. So here goes number 2. Now 3. Here goes number 4, 5, 6. Here we go. Last one, number 7. All right, I do also want to show you all this. It says the engine must have been stopped for at least 5 to 10 minutes before checking the oil level. So just make sure y'all run it, get it up to operating temperatures, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then you can check the oil, and that'll tell you the actual oil. It lets it all drain back into the oil pan. Also, do not forget to add your oil cap back on there. All right, let's go ahead and start this bad boy. All right, sounds good there. We're just gonna go ahead and scroll down to our oil life. And that's just right here on the steering wheel. Just click down, over. Yes, 100%, good to go. And I just want to do a side note here. If you reset your fuel filter, make sure the truck is not running. You'll just hold this button down without your foot on the brake for about 5 seconds, and then it'll let you reset this. If you try to do it with the engine running, it won't ever reset. So let's go check our oil level after getting this up to operating temperature and letting it sit for 10 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes after warming it up. Let's check. I'm not sure if I can do this one-handed. Yep, there she is. Looks good. All right, the final thing to do is to just get down here and check, make sure you're not leaking at your drain plug or your oil filter. And other than that, you should be good to go. And then you'll be good for a few more thousand miles before you have to change it again.